Good afternoon. It is February 17th, 2022. This is a meeting of the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust. The time is 3:15 p.m. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Veronica Calcrescent.
Mike, you're muted.
Mike Verosco here.
Yay, Joan Savoy, yay, here. That means we have a quorum. That's lovely. Thank you for being here. And we have some distinguished guests here today. I'll introduce them now, and then I'll quickly go through the preliminaries. We have Glenn Eaton and Karen Chapman of the Montechusett Regional Planning Commission, who are going to help us. Hopefully, we'll have a much better sense at the end of the day how we're heading, and we're hoping to start working on our action plan to getting some real affordable housing actually built here in Townsend. So we did our roll call. I've called us to order. The meeting is being video recorded. Is anyone else recording?
No, I am not.
Okay, and we do have a new trustee, but she's not able to make the meeting. We'll introduce her, Cindy Boundy, at our next meeting, I hope. And I have no additions or deletions. And 2 appointments, votes may be taken. 2.1, meet with MRPC reps to discuss DLTA grant application and their help creating an affordable housing action plan for the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust. I'll let you start. Thank you.
Okay, so the DLTA application allows for assistance with creating housing and growth in your community. We can do an action plan that would help you get from where you are now to where you would like to be. And I guess what we would want to know is details of what it is exactly that you want us to do.
Okay, Karen, so you and I did speak about this before, and we went over the housing production plan, which Veronica, correct me if I'm wrong, please, that the Board of Selectmen approved the other night. Am I right on that?
I believe that the Housing Authority, the Planning Board, and the Board of Selectmen have all agreed that it's.
That's lovely. We have, and
So far.
you have both seen our housing production plan, right, Glenn?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. And you've seen our trust document. So Karen, you and I went, just for the public, so you'll know, the town will be hopefully pretty soon transferring 6 parcels of town-owned land to the Affordable Housing Trust. There may be one more step before they get to us, but that's okay. And we have $100,000 in ARPA funds, so we can start getting the lands, surveyed or titles searched or whatever we do have to do there. Although I'm assuming they'll come to us with clear titles. And Karen, you and I went over items number. Oh, by the way, MHP cannot or can't do anything for us until the lands have been transferred. So they're
Okay.
Yeah. I did speak with Shelley Goring there, but she gave me the name of who to follow up with down the road. Oh, okay, the chart, if you want to look, if you have the document, the chart that starts on page 17.
Of the housing production.
Yes, of the housing production plan. Karen, tell me if I'm wrong. I think we looked at number 5, number 8, which is conduct a planning area study to investigate the possible creation of a 40-yard district in 2 villages and along the Route 119 corridor. 8, investigate the feasibility of promoting smaller developments on several parcels owned by the TAHT And 16, create a regular, predictable, create a regular source for the Affordable Housing Trust and a 5-year, just the part, create a 5-year action plan, leaving out predict a regular funding source.
Can we spell something?
Yes.
We have
I just want to advise the board that I am audio and video recording by law.
And I did speak with I had a conversation with the town clerk, and because it's not a hearing session, it's a public meeting, he has the right to be here without signing it. It's the hearings that he needs to sign in for.
I just want to know something, Sergeant Reed. I just want to know that it's a little disconcerting to have someone come into a building. I understand it's a public building, and we have no problem with that, but it's disconcerting when you ask someone who they are or where they're from.
Sure. I can understand where we're making errors.
It is, in this day and age, it's not necessarily safe for the people who work in the building. That's all I'm saying. And that's why the request was made for an officer to be present.
And excuse me, you cannot speak without being called on by the chair. Thank you. And you do have to cover your nose. But he was walking all over the building, filming all over the building, which is also off-putting. And the fact that he refuses to identify himself. So
It's not usual behavior, I understand. that.
Correct, thank you.
Every day, but it's not illegal.
yeah,
That
thank
is
you.
correct.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
but
It's
I agree with you
disconcerting.
that it's unusual that you see somebody doing that.
Right.
Absolutely.
But I will ask that the young man refrain from speaking. Thank you.
We understand that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, officer.
Thank you.
Okay, so 16 was to create a 5-year action plan. So that wouldn't be the entire number 16, but part of 16. Then I believe we looked at 18, designate that. I had a question about this. Maybe we should look at 18 later because Goldson, who did the housing production plan, said that the housing authority should be designated as the oversight entity and perform the annual review of the goals and strategies rather than the Affordable Housing Trust. Veronica, did you catch that? Number 18 is interesting.
Why your numbers are off.
Oh, really?
What's the date on the
1/19/22?
Mine's 2/1/22. This is the draft that we were given for approval.
Okay.
The 119 was the one before the minutes.
All right. So on mine, on number 18, designate the housing authority as the local HPP oversight entity and perform annual review of status of HPP goals and strategies.
That's number 19.
Okay. Goldson is saying the housing authority, not the Affordable Housing Trust.
It's typically the housing authority or a housing committee or whatever that works on the implementation of that.
And if you want to include, like, do you want to do together with the housing authority? Or do you just want us to work on your things specific to the affordable housing trust?
Well, I will tell you this, Laurie's here, but I did ask Courtney to speak with her on the phone this week because I said, I am personally, I'm green on this. I mean, nothing better would I like to see but some affordable housing built, but as far as going about it, and that's why we so appreciate your being here today. I don't know how much interplay I am to have with the Affordable Housing Trust. But we would like to start anything. We need to get going.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Laurie.
if I may, I think we're very fortunate to have MRPC and Karen Chapman working on this with Townsend because she's so familiar with what the housing production plans have been in the past and basically what the Housing Authority has gone through for the past 25 years anyway. I understand how that might make sense, that the Housing Authority works in conjunction with, or the trust works in conjunction with the Housing Authority, because it's the birth of the trust was from the housing authority. So, and the separate entity was so that the trust could own land and could develop affordable housing. That could not be done under the elected board. Okay, so, that's taken us over a year to do or so. And so I understand, although I've not had a specific conversation myself with Jen, our consultant, about this, I understand the concept of what she's saying, that the housing authority would oversee. To me, it's in conjunction with, we are the housing authority is in support of the trust and goals.
Lori, my only concern is how closely do we track each other's movements? That's all, but I don't think we need to pin that down right now. I mean, anything we're doing here will be on video, so anyone from Housing Authority can see it. But I just thought it was curious that Goldson said that, suggested that the Housing Authority, but I think we should ignore that for now and move along.
Karen, do you have thoughts on that? Like how is it done in other areas where there is a trust and separated from the housing authority?
They usually have their own missions and work on their own things, but in collaboration. So you may sit down both groups and go through all of these goals and strategies and decide, well, this would probably be best with the housing trust, or the housing authority really could do this better, or, something like that.
Yeah. Oh, Joan, I think that we've been very communicative between the housing authority and the trust. So I don't have a lot of concerns over it, but if there's something specific that you feel, you can bring it to the housing authority and we can hash it out there.
Yeah, I just didn't know, again, I think we'll do it later, but I didn't know like what kind of reporting you were expecting from us or you wanted and all that. So we'll work on that down the road. Is that fair?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Can I say something? I saw the DLTA request focusing on number 9 here. The investigate the feasibility of promoting smaller developments on several parcels owned by the town's affordable housing trust.
Mm-hmm.
What I would like to see in as part of the affordable housing action plan for the DHAT is to look at those 6 parcels that are being transferred and to determine which of those are feasible for what sort of housing. And if they are all feasible for housing, what order would make sense to approach and what the next steps are in going forward to getting a project going in town. I know the Board of Selectmen looked at that 100,000 to the Housing Trust as seed money to get something going.
Yes.
So we can do DLTA to look at that.
Yes.
And then work with MHP and any other engineering firm on whatever seems feasible.
Right.
Then we can get a project in motion. And I can't speak for the entire Board of Selectmen, but I know one of our ideas was to get some sort of affordable housing started with that 100,000.
Yes.
And
Okay.
that's a small amount. When you look at it over 6 years, it's a small amount. So we have to be judicious with where we go out for grant support and where we go for things that are required for us to pay for by ourselves.
Well, so then let me.
There isn't any more coming.
I know, but so then let me ask this question, which has been hanging over my head. Where do we get the money to build anything?
Oh, it'll come. Don't worry.
So you ask for donations from benefactors or foundations, you ask residents if they want to donate. You just put out the word, and if you get money in, then you can use that money to leverage to get other grants. So a lot of grants these days require a match. They have to give you 100% of the money.
Oh, okay.
So you can use that money that you have and the properties for that matter
Yep,
as collateral to get more funding.
yep.
You're never gonna get affordable housing at just one funding source. It's usually 8 to 10 different funding sources. You know, it's tax credits, it's state funding, it's federal funding, it's, you know, it comes from all over.
So it's great that we have Veronica, who's so familiar, and you that's so familiar. And then we also have Mr. De Silva, our grant writer, to help out when the time comes with that. Okay, so our goal for today is to, please correct me if I'm wrong, but our goal for today is to start laying out the legs of an action plan? Is that?
No, figure out what we are going to request for support from.
The DLT, okay.
Through the
Okay,
district level technical assistance.
Okay.
There's a proposal.
all right.
So then they get to read through our proposal and all the other proposals that come in and decide which is the most merit. And remember that, what I heard anyway, is 70% of the available DLTA funds is going to MBTA communities.
Oh,
So
Well,
this-
there are targets that in the contract between MRPC and DHCD, they say, you know, it would be nice if you could spend up to 70% on this and this and this. Those aren't requirements in the contract. They are, it's nice if you can do that, because if you get the requests, then you can follow that, that's fine. So it's a target from DHCD. We don't have to do up to 70%. It depends, here's the bottom line with DLTA. Virtually every DLTA request, not every, virtually every DLTA request that's ever been submitted we provided services for. The only times that we didn't provide services on a DLTA project that I remember, please amend my statement, is when a town, I remember this last year, the year before, I can't remember if it was program year 14 or 13, one town submitted 3 DLTA requests. And we had a lot of DLTA requests from a lot of communities. Well, we couldn't do all 3 from that community. We did 1 or 2. So just know that, yes, that those are targets. DHCD has put different targets in the past because the Baker-Polito administration has targets for housing now. Well, the Patrick administration before Baker-Polito, when this program and Pony Ride started, had different targets with different things. Housing's a big deal. There are other big deals. I just fielded a request, and you should know this today, from Linda Ellis. She's in Phillipston. And she said, just kind of, not an out of the blue email, but she had learned something about broadband, telecommunications, high speed. And she just emailed me before we had our ARPA listening session today. And she said, Glenn, where can we find funding for Phillipston to deal with the broadband issue? So I responded to her and I said, by the way, have you seen the call for proposals for DLTA? And I said, I think we can do some planning under that. And she was early for the ARPA meeting. So we chit-chatted. I pulled up the call for proposals and I found infrastructure planning support. Well, broadband is infrastructure. So I said, you can ask for assistance under that. So we'll get all sorts of varied requests, but certainly there'll be a lot of housing ones, especially this year. This will be my concluding statement. I really want you to add to this. That we've had some requests, or a request at least one, to study the MBTA community issue.
I have 5 already.
Yeah, 5.
I
I
know
remember
they're
sure.
I
I don't doubt that.
Expect every one of our communities that covered under this to ask for,
Yeah.
which is great, because we can sort of, in the beginning, do it broadly and then, focus on each community.
And that's probably what we'll do. It's one issue, multiple towns, but we'll probably start with global. I mean, I don't see us writing 5 or 6 or 7 totally different reports. There's going to be a lot of material that's global, related to everybody, and then we'll dive down into each community. They're all going to get separate reports, obviously, but the issue is the statute's the same. The guidelines are, going to be the same. Blah 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 blah. But there's going to be a lot of housing planning work this year.
I've not got anything except MBTA so far,
I bet.
so.
All right, so then I will, our objective, am I right? Our objective for today is to try to get the skeleton of the DLTA grant written. How does that, Veronica, am I getting warm?
Well, I guess what I'd like to know is, knowing that we have these 6 parcels and that we're just at the start of everything, what could you provide for us? What do you see that?
So I could see an action plan to get those developed, you know, this is, sort of a guidebook of how you go from A to Z. I'm not gonna reinvent the wheel though, I mean, there's lots of those things out there that you could Google and find. But it would be specifically for Townsend and Townsend's capability.
And I think I'm taking the question, you know, you're talking about specifically the call for proposals, the letter you want to write for the request to get planning services under DLTA.
Yes.
And I'm taking your question also, in addition to that, broadly, you know, what can we do to help you, you know, understand how to do this? And I'm going to use your question of
Thank you.
10 minutes ago as an example of, you asked a question about how can we get funding to do the job, if you want to implement, but you're not there yet. So you got to go through this and figure out the steps. So your question also presumed to me that the town, through the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust, would actually be the developer. We get the money. We do this as the TAHC. You may sit back and say, we don't have the capability to do this, and we're going to RFP the job to a developer to do housing projects in accordance with our action plan and our zoning and our design guidelines and what do you have locally. We learned the hard way at the office and the easy way in some cases when we developed. So we created a nonprofit organization in 2003 to develop affordable housing units and assist with job creation. And we did a handful of jobs. We did single family homes only. We did them in Pittsburgh and Lancaster. And at the time in 2003, we had a staff person who was very familiar with contracting and procurement and grant writing. And we came together as grant writers, but we put it together, and it was, every site was different for the funding sources, and every site had, but we were the developer. We were the Inc. We were the Regional Community Development Corporation that did the job. We didn't outsource it because we had the staff to do it. So you need staff, you need the whole staff horsepower to do something like that. And you need a set of skills of the staff to do. Okay, you do the pro forma, you know, you do the numbers. I think we can get financing from this source. Go after that. You know, Mary, you do the pro forma. Jimmy, you do the other stuff. And we came together as a team, and it was basically a team of at least 3 or 4 of us as staff people who worked on developing one single family home at a time for a 1-year project. For each year we did those projects. My point is that, you know, the planning process you need up front is great. Get this DLTA as Karen has titled it, an action plan together, because you want to figure out if you're going to do it, if somebody else is going to do it, how you're going to do it. So, and then also the last thing I really want to say is that under the Federal Economic Development Administration grant that we have, we can provide technical assistance to communities in the area of how to develop affordable housing. It's a global paragraph that's a little separate from the DLTA. So basically, Karen and I can use that grant to justify our time to be here today.
Oh,
To
fabulous.
help. It's the technical assistance issue is what it is under the EDA contract. So there are different pools, if you will, of resources and funding that we can have to do the planning stuff at different phases. DLTA is one. The EDA gives us some flexibility to have these conversations.
Do we have to apply for that one
No,
as well?
we
Okay.
made the request, and this is just a simple, we're here to help.
Okay, great. Thanks. That's lovely.
That's not a separate issue.
Okay.
But back to DLTA, I'm sorry it took so much time on that, but I just wanted you to understand the global issue, and then you're going to write a 5-sentence DLTA letter that the selectmen will sign at some point, which is your objective.
Can I just ask you about this? It's number 14 on this one. I don't know what it's from. Collaborate regionally with neighboring towns and the MRPC to provide information to promote community understanding of housing needs and opportunities in the regulatory framework of 1B.
What's your question?
Is that like public outreach, like getting the residents to know and understand housing, or?
That's how I read that. And maybe to, you know, if there is something we can do together, perhaps.
We're good at getting the word out. I mean, that we can do.
My focus is on the development.
And so number 4 on this one, adopt local guidelines for development applications for the local initiative program. What you are going to do as a town, as an entity, to create affordable housing falls under that local initiative program.
Okay,
So you as a town or an entity will be applying under 40B,
yep,
but you'll be the main person. So it's like it's a friendly 40B. It's not someone coming in and,
right,
so you work with a nonprofit developer, or like we did Habitat for Humanity before.
yep.
And so we did it as a local initiative program.
And Veronica, correct me if I'm wrong, do we not have to give some property to Habitat for Humanity?
No,
What, do I remember being told that we had to give one lot to Habitat?
no, that's for the open space multifamily that's up on Western.
Ah, okay, all right.
They, in the decision that the planning board made in like 2008, stated that, and the development has not yet been built, but they stated that one of the units needs to be given to Habitat.
Okay.
That's
Completely different. Okay, thank you. Okay. So Karen, can I ask you to drive then for the rest, for just walk, keep talking, keep walking and,
So if I were your
yes,
organization,
yes, thank you. That's lovely.
I would put in for a 5-year action plan to enhance the trust's effectiveness and determine the best path to create affordable housing.
That's lovely. Thank you.
And if you want to read about a LIP,
Mm-hmm,
local initiative project,
mm-hmm.
in the zoning files for Apple Drive, there's a notebook in there that has all, how it was all done, the application and everything. What's her name? Michelle Cannon did it when she was chair of the housing authority. She wrote up the whole local initiative program application, went before the zoning board and everything.
So I'm gonna go ask
If you
to
just
see.
want to look and.
Yeah, I'm
see
gonna
what it's
ask to
like.
see which
see.
file, the Apple Drive file that is
Yeah,
being
but-
held by,
14 Apple Drive.
okay, and
Planning board.
ZBA. Okay, thanks. All right, got
Ask
it.
Bill about it.
Yeah. Thank you. Great, that's lovely. So that'll be a reference guide. So basically, I have the simple verbiage for the DLTA grant submission. Anything else you recommend we include?
If you'd like to include like, we don't require in-kind match, but if you want to put like, anybody in town hall that's a paid employee, like if they're gonna do research for you or whatever, like they're gonna spend 20 hours and they make $20 an hour, so we're putting $400 towards this project, you know.
In the LTA.
Yeah, this is the first year we're requiring that because the CD wants us to do that.
So we shall note that we are earmarking X funds for anyone who works for the town that we may be asking to do some legwork, going through files, et cetera.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And it could just be an estimate.
Okay, all right. So that's item 2. Anything else?
I didn't bring the DLTA.
I have it. This document?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Maybe the application on the text down.
Well, it's not really an application.
You write a letter.
Yeah.
That's included in the letter.
And this is, the time to please, there are 2 questions out.
You mean what they submit?
Yeah,
Page 6 has some application submission instruction, or I keep calling it application, it's a
so
letter.
I read this 1,500.
I know, and I just looked at it today when I was talking to Linda in Phillipston.
Okay, what type of project is being proposed or considered? Include its expected deliverables once the project is completed. So write what you expect out of that action plan. You know, you want a roadmap to get from A to Z with creating a affordable housing and what the process is to get there. And then how does the project qualify according to eligible projects activities listed on page 46? So that's, yeah, planning ahead for housing is your category.
Yes, that's right. That is our category. So effectively, it's a very simple.
It's very, very simple.
Okay, all right. So are you allowed to look at what I write before we officially submit it to the BOS for their approval and to you?
Yeah.
Oh, cool beans. This is good news.
It's our role to help the communities through this. And
So it's gonna be now. I mean,
no, this is honestly, we set this up 15 years ago to be as simple as humanly possible. A letter from the selectman or the mayor of the city that has literally 3 to 5 sentences. Identify the category you just stated. I can't repeat it. I don't remember all the words. And then, it's a copy and paste of the relevant bullet, planning it for growth or something. And then the relevant bullet that Karen said, the sub bullet, if you will, or the task, the area under which the project is eligible. And yeah, I'm glad you picked up on the in-kind. Anything that any community can do to say, I know that, generally speaking, we have 5 members. We'll have a quorum for 5 meetings during this term. 3 will be there. We meet 2 hours. Assign an hourly rate to your time. Assign an hourly rate to the staff support time.
Yeah.
And say, no, this is another couple of grand that we're going to provide us in kind.
include our time?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
Really?
But you have a value, and that's okay.
Thank you.
Everybody does. Every volunteer still has a value, and it's a matter of how much you value your time. Now, honestly, you're not going to value your time like a lawyer in Manhattan at $5,000 an hour. It's pick a reasonable number, and we're just going to say, okay.
Valuable as some lawyer.
Well, I do too. It depends on the person. I've met some local officials who might not fit that category. I won't say anything more. So, having said that, Karen, I'd like to leave them also with, to not complicate things, but submit a DLTA request to us, assuming it gets approved and blessed, and Karen works on this job. But there's going to be a lot more planning here that they're going to need, I presume. Now, wouldn't planning assistance grants PAGs out of EEA help maybe for another phase, and maybe we give them some TA, after this meeting, and not complicate this meeting by saying, you're not going to get one DLTA and have, everything spelled out for you. We know everything, but we have to do. You might need other planning resources, like a certain fund that I just call the PAG program. All right, it's from a state grant, a state entity.
What's that stand for, please?
Planning assistance grant
Okay.
under Energy and Environmental Affairs.
All right.
And Karen and her people have been very successful the last few years in obtaining those grants to help communities with zoning related planning issues. So there might be something that while you're doing the planning process for the action plan, you say, gee, we really should put in a PAG for this thing over here. PAGs are due in April or May, and they're awarded in August or September, or we have to do the job by next June 30 of 23.
Usually a 2-year
Right.
grant period.
There you go. 2-year grant
You can
period.
get up to $50,000.
Nice.
So to your point earlier about grants, we're going to get, there are some resources to help you in the initial phases. I mean, when we started doing affordable housing in 03, we didn't do it. We didn't just open up the door and say, okay, we've got cash. We're going to do it. We're going to pick that parcel and rock and roll. There were years of planning on what we did to really, we didn't do zoning. That was the towns, but we were the developer. But we had a lot of legwork to do. That's all. So use all those resources that are available to you to do the planning up front, to try to ease the other end of, well, we asked that question, we got an answer, we know what to do 2 years later. That's all.
Thank you. And I want to thank you for knowing things. This is lovely. So can we leave it then? Today is Thursday, right? I know what day it was. I'm very proud.
good.
Yes, very good. Okay, we'll talk soon. I'm gonna write something up. We'll look at it. I'll get it to you, run it by you, and then I'll have something ready to put in front of the BOS. This board will have something to put in front of the BOS for your next meeting, right? Because you need to approve the DLTA application, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
The Board of Selectmen signed.
All right, and that will be prior to March 1st?
That will be on March 1st, since that's our next meeting.
So midnight, up to midnight, March 1st, you will have an electronic document, right? And that's, okay,
You can PDF the signed form, you can take a picture of it and send it. to us.
Yep.
So,
yep,
there we go.
Yep.
And we try to make it as easy as
Yep.
possible.
okay. Well, what I'll do probably that night is just take a photo with my phone and then we'll get it in PDF form and get it to you after the fact. But we'll at least get it in by the midnight. Okay, lovely.
And
That's,
you plan on submitting for MTA as well?
Yes, I know that my fellow is looking on it.
Yeah.
He's gonna do a presentation to us
Oh, good.
on March 1st.
Oh, good.
And he's gonna have,
I don't have to do it.
a DLTA grant application for us as well. So I'm expecting two, DLTA letters. One presentation for MBTA, so whatever he works on to bring forward.
Yeah, he was in the meeting this morning.
But the other, I was supposed to be, but I didn't make that.
It's okay. It was, the secretaries had tough questions around the state, and I mean, this statute drives me crazy personally and professionally. It should not have been passed. And it was honestly, it was attached to the economic development bond bill. So it was kind of a slide in, and they got something in the public process, but this doesn't apply in Ashby.
right,
Townsend, it just,
right.
Townsend that doesn't have public sewer.
right, about the infrastructure. Yes, yes, as Karen so often reminds me, yes.
Right, it's, other than that, it's perfectly fine. And
Yeah.
it's just that, to have that by right becomes incredibly expensive for whoever's gonna develop, and then, anyway, it's,
It'll work in Dorchester.
Well, one size fits all doesn't work, right, correct. I was gonna ask Lori or Mike if either of you had any questions before Karen and Glenn depart.
I do not. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori.
I don't
Mike?
either. I don't either. You hit everything I was looking for.
Okay, thanks, Mike.
thank you.
All right, so exhale, I can exhale now. And we'll just go on with the easy part of the meeting. All right, thanks. I'm so green and on this, and I appreciate your expertise, all three of you at the table here, and we'll get it done. Just baby steps for me, but in our board, but we'll get it done. Thank you so much.
If you have any related questions, call this later. I'm going to turn the phone off. You wanna call it?
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Okay, thanks. Karen, thanks a lot. I so appreciate your expertise, and I'll be in touch very soon.
Absolutely.
Okay, great.
Give my cell phone number.
Thanks. All right, have a good evening.
This is our job.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. And it's still light out, which is lovely.
It's
Right?
wonderful. And
Yeah.
It's 61 degrees.
Yeah, right, right.
Take care.
Thanks a lot. Sorry for the kerfuffle there at the beginning of the meeting.
Oh,
That was,
that was mine. I mean,
oh,
I've dealt with so much worse.
really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. People shot me at the hall.
oh, thank you. That was so upsetting.
Just wanted to take some pictures. You don't know at the beginning.
Correct.
To your point, it's unsettled.
It is
It's just
extremely,
in this day and age,
Yes.
right.
To have someone come in, it's perfectly fine for anybody from the public, but if you won't identify yourself.
Yeah. Oh,
And so this is.
yeah.
Recording with it?
No, I was not.
You sure?
Why does that matter? Give me my phone.
It matters because
Give me my
can
phone.
announce you.
Give me my phone. Brady, he's not to give me my property. He's not giving me my property. Give me my phone now.
All I did was ask him if he announced he was recording.
Okay, so let's proceed.
No, I wasn't.
Give it back to me. I bet you if I didn't come back, I wouldn't get it back in my bedroom.
No, it would have been down on the town floor.
All right,
All
let's
right,
go
let's
on.
keep
We have a
going. All right,
meeting going.
the meeting business, item 3, updates on transfer of 6 properties to the THT by the town and the ARPA funds we've been given. And we can scratch, discuss Habitat for Humanity requirement and review property maps and arrange for site visits. Let's pick that apart item by item. Veronica, can you update us on the transfer of the 6 properties? Anything we don't already know, please?
I don't know what all of you know or don't know, but, the town council is looking at the 6 properties.
For the titles?
2 of them are not tax takings and they're fine to go. 4 of them though with tax takings, and he just wants to check title on those. They may have to go before
Town
meeting to
meeting.
be accepted,
Okay, and,
but he'll let us know that. So that's where that stands. The
and-
ARPA fund, so there's an account set up for when we're ready to use.
yes, I know Gary, on our board had a concern about that, and that the treasurer has those, and, that's, the treasurer deals with those, they're earmarked down there, we really have no access to those, it's like, aside from,
Right.
handing in a
He had
warrant.
suggested, if I understood, to have an intermediary hold the money, but it's, I believe, since we're a municipal entity. it's a
Yeah.
municipal fund,
Yeah,
and it should be fine.
okay, that's great. And so scratch the Habitat for Humanity requirement, and the board, we have all reviewed the property maps. I would like to arrange for some site visits. The Conservation Commission agent, who is a certified wetlands delineator, can
Can I say something about that?
yes,
I think we're jumping ahead on that.
okay,
I think that, the first thing is the DLTA grant, getting a plan. in
Okay.
place.
all right,
And I think at that point, that's where we look to see which are developable or which are not.
okay,
And so I wouldn't go that route. I mean, I think we can look at Mass GIS or Mr. Mapper or whatever it is now, Mass Oliver, what used to be Mass Oliver, and we can determine the amount of wetlands and location of wetlands on the property to see whether or not it may or may not be developable. But until we have a plan, I don't see any need to map the wetlands.
great. Good, works for me. So,
What do other people think?
well, I just thought it's better if we have to go walking about, it's better when the ground's frozen. Although harder to see wetlands. Well, although in the melt, you see them.
I see that for the.
Okay, that works for me.
Mike, what about you? He is not listening, so, okay.
All right, so 3.2, discuss towns and housing production plan as prepared by Goldson, and we have done that. And the MHP Municipal Affordable Housing Trust Guidebook, I did get that out to all members of the Affordable Housing Trust. And basically, they can't do much for us until we have actually received the property. So that's on the back burner as well. But they will step up as soon as we have those properties. 3.3, discuss utilizing Concom agent for wetlands ID. That's back burner. 3.4, discuss other available assistance with projects. Oh, that seems like a bit of redundancy. 3.5, carve a path forward for building some affordable housing, create list of next steps. I believe we will do that with the MRPC when we get our DLTA grant.
If we do not get a DLTA grant, then we can revisit this.
Okay, and my understanding is, they don't, refuse many grant applications for this program, so, we're very hopeful. Okay, so Mike, this is when I could use you here. Confirm twice monthly meeting day and time, and you know, the TCAM's calendar is so tight, but we have ascertained that the first and third Mondays of each month at 5 p.m. does work. And I'm hoping Mike, I actually have talked to him about that. That does work for him, works for me. How
Yeah.
about for you? Mike, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi, so first and third Mondays of the month for regular, we're gonna have to start meeting regularly, and I believe you and I already discussed that works for you.
Yeah, I'll do my best to make it work as many weeks as I can.
Thank
It's a little tough with planning board and some of the other commitments I have on Mondays, but I'll try to do my best.
I believe planning board is the alternate
Second,
Mondays,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think it is too.
okay, great, super, thanks, Mike. And Veronica, how you doing? I know you have so much spare time.
I'll make the ones that I can make.
Okay,
The problem with this is the first and third Tuesday is for the selectmen, and that makes
Yeah.
Monday typically a very busy day.
yeah,
And so whatever.
okay, well, no, I understand, and we will put out an official plea right now to the public, anybody that listens to this down the road, we would love volunteers to be on this Townsend Affordable Housing Trust Board, particularly as 2 and perhaps 3 of us, our terms are expiring in October after 2 years, and the state will not allow us to sign back up. So we need people who are invested in building some affordable housing. Nope. 2 year, nope,
You can't do a second 2-year term.
nope. It's my understanding. That was 3-7. And then approve the minutes of item 4, approve minutes, 4.1, approve minutes of 4/15/21, our solo Townsend Affordable Housing Trust. And believe it or not, Mike, we have not met as a sole body since then. And Mike, I want to say, I love the minutes you prepared, and thank you so much, because you didn't do them by watching the Zoom. You had actually taken notes at the meeting, so you did it. They're like the old-fashioned minutes. I emailed them last night. Oh yeah, I emailed them last night. The old-fashioned kind of minutes, and they're short and sweet. They might be, Mike, if you don't mind, I'm gonna put them on, the letterhead, and I'm gonna just change the heading like meeting minutes, etc., if you don't mind.
That is A-okay. I had to dig back through my notes like really far, so that's why it took me almost yesterday to get them done.
Right. I mean, they're very short and very sweet, but the videos do exist nowadays, so that's great. So thanks a lot. And then we want to approve joint meeting minutes.
So we need to have a motion to approve.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you very much. I need a motion to approve the 4/15/21 TAHT meeting minutes, please.
So moved. Is there a second?
Mike, can you second? I'll second.
I can second for you if you want. Sorry, I was just trying to click on mute.
Thank you. Roll call, please. Mike Verosco,
Mike Verosco, yes.
Veronica Kell,
Yes.
Joan Savoy, yes, so approved. And now we have 3 sets of joint meeting minutes that Jody so expertly prepared for us, starting with 4/28/21. Can I get a motion to approve, please?
So moved.
Roll call vote, please, to approve.
Now we need a second.
A second, I second. Roll call vote, please, to approve 4/28/21.
Mike Verosco, yes.
Veronica Kell, yes.
Joan Savoy, yes. We need a vote to approve the 10/14/21 joint meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the 10/14/21 joint meeting.
Can I get a second? I'll second. Roll call vote, please.
Mike Verosco, yes.
Veronica Kell, yes.
Joan Savoy, yes. And our final meeting minutes to approve 1/27/22. Can I get a motion to approve, please?
I move that we approve the minutes of 1/27.
I second. Roll call vote, please.
Mike Verosco, yes.
Veronica Kell, yes.
Joan Savoy, yes. Our items for discussion at next meeting will be the DLTA grant as submitted and hopefully approved by BOS on Tuesday, March 1st. Am I correct? What's the,
I'm sorry.
it's not, that's not the date, is it?
Tuesday, March 1st, is that the next meeting then?
No, that's your next meeting. Our next meeting is would have been, is going to be a week, the 7th. Our next meeting is the 7th, so,
And when are we doing when is the Affordable Housing Trust approving the DLTA grant?
I'm gonna have to hold a short a very short meeting to get that approved because I didn't want to schedule a regular full session meeting. So I'll talk to the members. Mike, I'll talk to you individually and the other members so we can get a 15-minute Zoom meeting to approve the DLTA grant once I have it written.
Are we tentatively do that
Well-
On the,
on the 28th of February?
Tw-
the day before the last meeting,
yeah, Mike, how does 28th of February look for you? What time?
5 p.m.?
5 o'clock?
I can't do the 28th.
Okay.
All right, well, I'll let you guys know.
All right, we'll figure it out. Hopefully we'll have 3 of us, so we'll have a quorum and, the next scheduled official Affordable Housing Trust meeting is 3/7/22. Although there'll be a very short one between now and, March 1st to, have the board vote on the, DLTA grant. All right, thank you all. It is 4:08 p.m. and we are adjourning. May I get a motion?
I move that we adjourn for 4 p.m.
Can I get a second?
I'll second that, Joan.
Thank you so much. And roll call vote, please.
Mike Verosco, yes.
Veronica Kell, yes.
Joan Savoy, yes. Thanks, everybody. See ya.
Yeah.